Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to your daily Adept report for today, May 19th of 2018. Thank you so much for joining me. And let's dive into the cards and a little bit of astrology to see what we have in store for today and what energies and elements you will have to work with today. Well, the main thing that's happening today is that Venus is moving into Cancer. This is beautiful. This is talking about us connecting to each other on a deeper, more emotional level. This is about us being open to receiving this deeper emotional level, and us kind of learning how to really begin to communicate with each other and have this emotional intelligence. This is going to be a time of increased compassion, increased empathy, hopefully, because we definitely need it in this world, but also a time where we really need to learn how to cultivate that compassion, that empathy within ourselves. Because I think a lot of times it can be really, really hard on ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to progress and move things forward, but at the same time, you want to check to make sure what your tone is towards yourself, and what your tone is that you're reverberating out to the world, because it's really based off of that. That's going to kind of almost determine like how you're able to receive, you know. So Venus moving into Cancer, which I probably will make a whole video on that eventually, maybe coming up later this week. Just how this transit right here is really going to begin to clue us in to, it's almost something like this, like almost clue into like when the North Node eventually goes into Cancer later this year. This Venus going into Cancer is like a bit of a preview as far as like how to really begin to open up emotionally and how to allow for that deeper intimacy too. Because Cancer is a deep sign, it's a water sign, and it's the first water sign, it's zodiac, and it's cardinal energy. So this is about really penetrating the deepness of who we can be, but also really allowing these emotions to, you know, allowing ourselves to feel these emotions, but also allowing them to pass, because it's naturally ruled by the moon, which moves really fast. So it's kind of like what I said yesterday about the flow. It's like you want to, of course, be able to, you want to experience your emotions, experience the full spectrum of your emotions, but you also want to just, you know, you have to kind of like let it be like a river and let things pass. And a lot of times we like to hold on to things, and I think even in the context of the story, we kind of are holding on to some things. So the overall theme is actually the Ten of Pentacles, and this is actually a beautiful, beautiful card. And I think as far as the context of the other cards that are here, as you will see, is that this is what we are striving towards. It's this peace and harmony, but this is really more or less about abundance and there being enough to go around. This is really about success, and I think this is really what we are all striving for. As far as the story for today, we are definitely going to be stepping more into this feeling of abundance, especially with Venus moving into Cancer. Of course, you want to look at where it is in your chart and how we're going to start to become more emotionally open to this idea that we really can be abundant, that we really can be successful. But this also, of course, depends upon, you know, the rest of the cards here. And this also really depends upon your attitude, right? So the exposition of the story, where it starts, is actually we have the World card. And I think this is interesting because we are all kind of just looking at the world and trying to figure out what's happening, you know? We're trying to figure out why does the world look the way it does? Why does the world seem so chaotic? And I think this is really going to be a time of realizing that that which we see on the outside is also reflected within us. You know, we live on an earth, or inside the earth. We live on the earth, but there's also an earth inside of us. Just like we look out there and we see the moon, we see the sun, Mercury, Venus, all the planets and the stars. That's all within us as well. So I think we have to realize that as above, so below, as within, so without. So all this chaos that we see on the outside world is also reflected within each and every one of us. So that's why the world looks the way that it does. And we're going to kind of come to like, well, we want this abundance. We want this. We want there to be more than enough to go around. Each and every one of us at the deep core of our being want that. Even if we have, like, you know, impurity stacked on top of it. At the core of all of our being, we all want abundance for everybody. You know, there's more than enough to go around, but we're kind of looking at the world, trying to figure out how we really can bring this about. The exposition of the story, we actually have the Three of Wands in reverse. So this is actually us kind of looking at the world and being almost a little discouraged about what we see. Whereas the Three of Wands before, it's almost like adventure beckons. They know that something great is coming. They know that something is on the horizon. They're looking out. And it's almost kind of like a bit of a success card, because it's like taking those first steps after the Two of Wands and realizing that you're on this great adventure and you're going to learn a great deal of things, and you're going to really begin to start manifesting. The Three of Wands in reverse here is really saying that it's almost like we kind of feel like we're halted in our manifestation process. We're kind of looking out at the world and we're a little bit discouraged by what we see, right? The rising action, we actually have the Judgment card in reverse. This is signaling to the fact that if we are feeling, I hate to say it like this, if we're feeling some type of way, I really do not like that saying, some type of way. But if we are feeling, that was the only thing that came to my mind. I'm a writer too, so it's bad that that's all I could think about. But if we're feeling discouraged, you know, about what we see in the world, if we're feeling, you know, ashamed even about what we see in the world, then really what we have to do is we have to go within ourselves. I think a lot of times we like to pass judgment on other people, but we don't like to look within. That's another thing about the Three of Wands. It's about looking within. This is about going within and meditating. Not being too hard on ourselves, not really judging ourselves, even though this is the Judgment card, but almost sort of like having the ability to respond to our experiences, to our actions, to our reactions, and to this external stimuli, to the point where we can recognize that change needs to be made, and we follow our intuition, and we actually allow ourselves to go within and meditate and really begin to feel out what we need to do to change. And each and every one of us is doing this. You know, now that Uranus, of course, has shifted into Taurus too, this is really us, each and every one of us on a quantum level, looking out at the world because, okay, the reality of the world is beginning to set in. This is how things are. But then on a deeper level, Uranus, because it's like quantum, but also deals with people. It's like, how can I really begin to affect change that brings about more stabilized abundance for everybody? Well, it starts within. We can't go off and start passing judgment on other people for what they've done. And even though it was seen that like certain people and corporations have a lot of the responsibility for what's happening, we still vote on things with our energy, our dollars, our views. So we have to understand that we have to change within us as well. And don't worry, like, you know, like some of these big corporations that do like these terrible practices, whatever like that, they're going to be taken care of. But I think right now, especially now Mars is in Aquarius too, people are getting riled up and angry about what's going on. But the thing is that we want to remember to have compassion for ourselves and even to have compassion for these other people, because even though they're doing these bad practices, even though they may seem evil, at the core of their being, if you dig past all of the crap, and there might be a lot of it, and every one of us has this too. So it's not like any one person is more light or dark than the other. You know, they might express more than one or the other, but it doesn't mean that any one particular person is more good or more bad than the other. All right, even prisoners have dreams at night. Okay, so it's like we have to realize that we really can't be passing judgment on other people. That's not how we change the world. How we change the world is by coming within, meditating, and then affecting change from that way. Because things change from the inside out. That's how things evolve, from the inside out. So we have to come within ourselves, realize what we need to do, what changes we need to make that are more in line with our higher vibration, and then change that way. That's how the world around us begin to change. We actually have, in the Climax card, we actually have the Empress in reverse. So even more so, this is signaling to the fact that we feel like we do need to clean up this earth, and that Gaia is really asking her children right now to really step up to the plate and to do what we need to do what they need to do. And this is signaling to this revelation of truth that this is how things are at the current moment. But do they have to stay this way? I don't think Mother Gaia is abandoning her children. I think that really she's just waking us up, especially now that Uranus is in Taurus. So she's really going to be communicating with Uranus. This is almost like, in many ways, Uranus and Gaia kind of meeting up again and really discussing matters, discussing, what to do and how their children have been working, And now it's like we're going to be coming into this point where we're going to become much more conscious of the earth and our effect on the earth. We're going to become much more conscious to the truth of what's happening here. But the thing is that we can alter that truth. And when I say we can alter that truth, I mean we can, instead of the truth of it being like we're killing the planet, which honestly, as bad as it is, I'm pretty sure that things will just revert back anyways. I don't think I think we have the capability of destroying the planet, but I don't think we can actually destroy the planet, personally. And this Empress in reverse really here is signaling to us learning to reconnect back to the earth, right? And it's interesting because it comes after the Judgment card. So it's like once you go within, you'll realize that you have to start to reconnect back to the earth and reconnect back to even your physicality too. We have the Ten of Wands in the Falling Action card. So this is going to be us kind of moaning and complaining that we have a lot of hard work to do. And we have a lot of luggage to kind of lug around. I know this is a wand suit, but I think this also has to do with emotions. Because fire and water suits are typically more spirit-based. So it's like we feel like we have a lot of things and a lot of bags that we're carrying around, which might actually prevent us from manifesting. And we have to kind of let go of old ways of being and old even ideologies that don't serve us anymore, that are heavy and weighed down, and they don't really allow us to flow, because really you can't go with the flow if you're carrying all these wands. I think a lot of us, every one of us in some way, shape, or capacity are carrying around this big lug, and it's like, even though we realize that we have to come within, help clean up the planet, it starts with each and every one of us. It starts with the individual. So we have to kind of let go of this ideology, that we can save the whole world. That's one thing. We have to really focus on saving ourselves, one. B, we really won't be able to go along with the flow if we're carrying on so much. C, there are certain things that we are carrying just don't really work for us anymore. They're weighing us down. And quite frankly, the Ten of Wands is exhaustion. So we're even tired from upholding these things, even if we like to try and confuse ourselves with these self-limiting beliefs that we need them. And yes, there are certain beliefs that, all self-limiting beliefs, they serve a purpose. They serve a purpose. And it's usually to guard you from some type of fear or some type of anxiety or some type of worry. It's usually as a means to protect you. But now is going to be a time to really begin to release those, because they don't serve its purpose anymore. The resolution of this is the Six of Pentacles, signaling more to the fact that as far as being able to give back to the world, it starts from person to person. I think this really starts that the first way that you give to the world is that you give to yourself. You give yourself time to meditate. You give yourself time to transform. You give yourself time to evolve, build, grow. And that's how you're going to really begin to affect change. I think with the Six of Pentacles in reverse is saying that you don't necessarily, on this day especially, take care of yourself, but it's saying that you don't necessarily not have to give to charity or give to people this day, but you don't have to overwork yourself and overstrain yourself. Learn from the Ten of Wands being the following action. Learn that you don't have to just go out and try and save the world today. This is not a day about saving the world. This is a day about really saving yourself, and I don't want to say saving yourself, but almost recognizing that you are worth it, that you are so worthy. But this is a day where if you can just help one person, it'll make the difference. If you can just help one person, outside of yourself, I believe that will make a huge difference, and it'll actually begin to lead to this infinite abundance that we all want. Interesting enough, you want to know who the writer of the story is? The writer of the story is the Knight of Cups. So this very well could be, like I said, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And we have to remember that we just came out of this water trine with the moon in Cancer, Jupiter in Scorpio, and Neptune in Pisces. So we're kind of coming out the other side of this water trine, and now that Venus has shifted into Cancer, we're really going to be wanting to, share in this new emotional connection, and we're all going to also become more psychic during this time when Venus shifts into Cancer. And this is really a time, as far as like the writer of the story, is like the best way that we're going to begin to affect change and bring about that abundance and begin to clean up the earth and begin to really seek that exalted vibration is by having the emotional intelligence to follow our emotions, to follow our guides, to come within, and to, not get too caught up in the earthly drama, but be attached to enough to the point where we realize that it is a reflection of what's going on the inside of us. We don't want to turn a blind eye to it. But I think what the Knight of Cups wants us to do is to kind of recognize what's happening and have, like I said, the emotional responsibility to respond to it in a more positive way, so we can begin to actually create this world that is infinitely abundant for everyone, because it really is. If you look out into the world, if you look out into nature, there's more than enough to go around. It's just that we have created this society within the earth. We have framed ourselves within this idea and self-limiting belief of scarcity, which does not exist in this infinite universe. That is it for your reading today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, you can follow the link in the description below to theaquarianadepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.